Welcome to our town here at Comma Coffee. I'm here this morning with Deborah Stevenson from the Nevada State Museum.
Experience the neighborhood business atmosphere at the Clearview Center in South Carson City at Clearview and South 395. Carson City Closeout, your neighborhood discount store. Famous retail merchandise overstock at the absolute lowest price possible. Straw Hat Pizza, your neighborhood pizza place. Genuine California pizza. Family dining. Birthday parties, call 883-5006. Dream Dinners, your neighborhood healthy buffet, bringing people together again around the dinner table in a healthy way. Call 841-3663. Yes, it's a beautiful day in the business neighborhood at the Clearview Center in South Carson City, Clearview Drive and South 395. Come visit us soon.
Here this morning with Deborah Stevenson from the Nevada State Museum. And you're here to talk about some interesting new exhibit you have with these baskets that you see here. Tell us a little bit about it.
All right. Well, we've got this fabulous new exhibit. It's coming on March 25th. It's called Interwoven 2010 Visions of the Great Basin Basket Makers. We actually had the Basket Maker group here a couple of years ago, and it was such a popular exhibit that we brought it back again. In fact, if you come into our new central concourse right now, you can see a willow bridge going all the way across the concourse, as well as a huge basket that has birds in it. It's like a bird's nest that's in the concourse itself. And another one is called the Dust Devil. How typical is that for Nevada? And it's a beautiful swirling sculptural basket. So that's already there.
How big are these? Are they?
They're gigantic. You know, they're like I don't know, 6 feet tall. Some of them. They're huge. And so
those underwater basket weaving classes did somebody good somewhere, right?
You know, there's always this joke that people say, you know, you have go to a mental hospital or something and learn about basket weaving, but the truth is basket making is extremely intricate. For instance, you can see this beautiful basket here by Linda Havens. It's got a Tenerife top that's beautiful beaded, and she used that as inspiration for her basket, which is a pine needle basket, considered a traditional basket, and it's amazing detail here. It's considered a coiled basket, which means the pine needles are wrapped around in a circle. You can see the start here, and then it's a stitching technique. So this is an extremely intricate basket. I myself am a member of the Great Basin Basket Makers. I made a small one about this big out of pine needles, and it took me 12 hours. So it's really an intricate art, and it's not something I think you could do if you didn't have all your wits about you, because it requires a lot of concentration.
You need a lot of patience.
Right. So March 25th is the opening, and that's from 5 o'clock to 6:30, and it's open to the public. It's going to have reception with refreshments and all sorts of great activities. Great opportunity to meet some of these basket makers, because many of these baskets are for sale as well as on display. Following the reception, we have a program about 6:30 p.m. to 7:30, and it's called Basketry as Art. I'm actually fortunate I'm going to be facilitating the discussion. We've got Rosita Todorova from the Nevada Arts Council. She's a great artist, a visual artist. We'll be talking about basketry as art. But our special guest is Mary Lee Fulkerson, who's the founder of the Great Basin Basket Makers. She also belongs to this group called the Wild Women, so she's an expert on the contemporary baskets. And she'll be talking about all the visual elements that make basketry art. You know, if you're like me, you probably thought maybe in the beginning that baskets were more of just a utilitarian thing, and they began that way. Containers for holding things like plant materials or even holding water. But a lot of the baskets now have become fine art. They've stretched that limit where they're incredible creations. They have all the visual elements of color and design and texture and shape and composition. So it's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, and there's a history of this basket weaving here in this area with this kind of very fine.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that, because in Nevada we have about 11,000 years of tradition of basket making, and since this is a Great Basin Basket Makers, many of those same techniques are still used today. For instance, in this beautiful shadow box here that Margaret Marshall has prepared, she's one of the really expert basket makers in the group. She has quite a variety of techniques. So this little basket here shows twining, which is used traditionally in the water jugs, and it's used in the winnowing trays, and it's even used in the, the tule baskets also that you find, like the little egg bags are all twined. This is called plaiting. It's a technique that a lot of people are aware of. It's a sort of a braided type technique. And then this little basket here is actually, looks like a gourd that has pyro engraving on it, so she does a little wood burning technique. This is called continuous wrap, where she just wraps around it. And some of these are kind of a free form, where she's taken wire sculpture and just woven in more of a random style. And then like the pine needle basket we talked about here, she has some miniature pine needles, which are a coiling and stitching technique. So a tremendous amount of variety, and people love these miniatures. They're just very, very popular. So those traditions that went back 11,000 years ago, they're still being used today, but they're being used in a new way and with modern materials. There's a basket I almost brought, and it was made out of nylon stockings. They like to use recycled materials, and they've used the twining, which is a traditional technique, but out of old stockings, and put a garter on the top. So some of these gals are really, really funny.
We're going to take a break for a minute, and we'll be right back.
Okay, thank you.
Here's to going farther than yesterday. Here's to being there for her first trip to the moon. Here's to 2 daughters, 4 grandkids, and no regrets. Here's to still holding hands after 50 years. Here's to celebrating life. Carson Tahoe Regional Healthcare. Here's to your health.
And we're back with Deborah Stevenson from Nevada State Museum. And tell us about this basket here, this nice colorful basket in the middle.
Sure. We've been talking a little bit about some of the more traditional baskets, but this is a contemporary basket. This is by Betty Hulse. It's absolutely gorgeous. You can see the reed inside that she's done in the woven component, but she's covered the whole basket with silk. It's more of a contemporary basket, very colorful, and she calls it Influence of the Orient. So what a lot of the basket makers have done that we were talking about earlier is they've taken the traditional techniques like twining and coiling, and they've added new elements like color and sculptural elements to just have fun with it, and that's what makes it nice. I wanted to also let you know that we have some programming associated with the exhibit over the next few months, and one of them coming up is going to be on April 24th, and it's contemporary weaving with recycled materials. And that's like the one that I was telling you about with the nylon stockings. They also have some made of old Nevada maps, some made of newspapers. There was a wonderful sculpture that I saw that was made out of telephone wire. So you can take interesting things and weave just about anything you can find and reuse.
So this is a hands-on kind of class. Somebody can sit down and learn how to do this, or is it?
This is actually a demonstration rather than a class, but a lot of times they will invite people up if they want to try and get kind of a feel, because the mission of the Great Basin Basket Makers is to learn everything about making baskets and encourage others to kind of appreciate it and maybe give it a try. Another one is weaving with natural materials. We talked about the pine needles, but you've also got raffia, you've got vines. You can take irises, you can take chokecherry, you can take grapevine, just about anything that grows in your yard that has a viney texture. Even rabbit brush, you can weave out of those things. So that particular workshop would be with the natural materials on May 22nd. But here's the neat thing. They're going to be making a giant basket outside a museum in Lofton Park. I'm talking about huge, much bigger than this table we're sitting at. And the public can come and participate. All ages can come, and they'll have all sorts of reed and willow and probably vines, and people can just interweave it and give it a try. It's going to be amazing.
When is that?
That's going to be on May 22nd from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. You just come to the museum and just jump right in, and they'll show you what to do, and you can help make this enormous, giant basket. Wouldn't that be fun? So a lot of people love the pine needle baskets. We have Audrey and Brenda Frank, who are Native American. They're Washoe Paiute, and they're going to be making pine needle baskets demonstration. That'll be in June 5th. And then July 17th, there'll be an actual workshop on weaving traditional baskets. So you asked about, can you make one? The demonstrations are primarily just to get you interested and excited and to realize it's possible to do this. But the workshop is a chance where you can actually come and take the class and make one. So I've taken several workshops with these folks, and they're great fun. And the exhibit is...
Thank you. Thank you. thank you, 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 thank you.